Alrighty, so last but certainly not least, in terms of these preview of the conference semifinal, we're going to talk about the LA Galaxy versus Minnesota United. So this is, of course, the last conference semifinal that we're going to see on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific, and it's also going to be national televised on FS1. So that means, yeah, the game's going to start at 6:25 p.m. Eastern, 3:25 p.m. Pacific, as that's always kind of the case whenever a game is on Fox. It's going to be 25-minute after kickoff. But another thing I also want to mention, and a bit of a news flash, I'm actually going to be going to this game, and I'm actually going to do a bit of a crazy thing on Sunday. Decided to drive down there to LA, and then after the game is over, I'm gonna drive back. Now, obviously, that means I've got to wake up very early in the morning, and most likely I'm gonna get back very late as well. But I will assure you that I will still be able to at least keep an eye on the Orlando City versus Atlanta game. I'll probably have it fit on the speaker as I'm making my way drive down there. Um, and I also will be doing the review of this game probably the very next day after I come back. But yeah, I'm definitely excited. I mean, I've already attended a Minnesota United playoff game at Allianz. It was absolutely electric, and this is gonna be the first time that I've actually attended a road game. And honestly, I don't expect a lot coming out of this game. Obviously, it would be an incredible achievement and an incredible upset if Minnesota can pull off another stunning upset. And especially, obviously, coming to this game, this is one of the matchup that when you look at all these conference semifinal matchup, this might be the most mismatch kind of matchup, a matchup that you would assume the Galaxy are going to be heavy favorites coming into this game. Now, that being said, when you look at all-time meeting, 8-5-3 in favor of the Galaxy, and the last time both of these teams played at Dignity Health Sports Park, the Galaxy was able to win that one 2-1 against Minnesota. But mind you, that was a game where Minnesota hold on well for a majority of the period, and if it wasn't for them going back to their old habit of giving up late goals, to lose that game, they probably would have got a point out of the Health Sports Park, and a place that this season pretty much nobody has been able to walk away with all 3 points. The Galaxy is unbeaten this season at the Health Sports Park, but before that it was a 2-2 draw between Minnesota and the Galaxy. I actually went to that game, so this is actually going to be the second time this season I get to watch this match, this time down in Carson that as well. And I remember that was a match Chubb where the Galaxy were able to quickly overcome a 1-0 deficit to make it 2-1, and then eventually Minnesota did get the equalizer, did push late to try to get themselves the win, but weren't able to do so. But before that, they did win 5-2 against the Galaxy. And then the other matchup, this is also another game I've been to, and yeah, not a great memory of this one. The Galaxy lost or Minnesota lost 4-3 to the Galaxy. That was a game where Minnesota had a 3-1 lead and just hit the self-destruction button in the second half of that game. But before that, it was a 3-2 road win that Minnesota has against the Galaxy. So lately, when you look at the last five head meeting, despite the fact that the all-time meeting is a bit of a mismatch, Minnesota has at least got a couple of wins against the Galaxy. They've definitely done much better against the Galaxy compared to in the beginning of time when the Galaxy was just simply owning Minnesota, just like how Seattle is still owning Minnesota right now in terms of the all-time meeting. Now in the first round, so as I mentioned before, this was a big concern for both teams after winning their first round matchup in relatively quick fashion. That Russ could play a big factor in this game. In fact, I probably should have put that one as one of the big story point as well. I actually didn't put that there, but I'll mention as the fact that the Russ is going to be a factor. Both of these teams have not played in over 3 weeks. The Galaxy, their last play on November 1st, and they were probably the most dominant side in the first round, and probably one of the most lopsided first round matchup we have seen in recent memory. They won 5-0 against Colorado, and then going on the road. The scoreline I think was a little bit misleading because Colorado actually play much better in that game, but in the end the Galaxy were able to win 4-1, and they of course they really inflated that scoreline because they scored two late goals late in this game. Now for Minnesota, they of course didn't win any of their first round matchup, but they did do it in the PK shootout. First, winning 5-4 on the road against RSL in the PK shootout, and then in the second game, which I went to, they won 3-1 in the PK shootout against Real Salt Lake. And again, they also have not played in a long time. The last time that they played was November 2nd. Now, top goal scored for this team. Well, we all know about the front four of this Galaxy team. It is absolutely lethal, and it's hard to believe that there's actually three guys on this team that currently is tie in first place, and all of them have 17 goals. Like I usually do not see this happen often, where you see three guys would have 15 plus goal, but those three guys that tied with 17 goals is Dejan Joveljic, Gabriel Peck, and Ricky Puig. And then you got Joseph Painso with 11 goals, and Diego Fagundes rounds of the top five with 4 goals. For Minnesota, it's actually Bongi Longwane that currently leads the team with 11 goals. You wouldn't have thought that was the case, consider he had a bit of a slow start to the season. I really think he eventually picked things up, and that a very quiet kind of 11 goal campaign despite the fact that he's a top goal scorer. And then you got Taniolo Ashari with 8 goals, though he's been kind of struggling lately. He hasn't been able to find the back of the net in the last couple of games. Then you have Robin Lod with 7 goals, Kelvin Yoboa, who has just been red hot heading into the playoffs with 7 goals. And then you have Sun Bin, who of course scored the winning goal in the PK shootout against RSL with 6 goals to his name. Top assist leader for the Galaxy, Gabriel Peck leads the team with 14 assists, which that's kind of surprising considering you would have expected Ricky Puig to be the one that leads the team in the assists. But Gabriel Peck, he's not only doing it in the goal scoring department, but he's also doing it on the assist department. And it's no wonder that I don't think they announced who's the newcomer of the year, but you got to say Gabriel Peck pretty much almost now on that spot in terms of winning newcomer of the year. Then you got Ricky Puig with 9 assists, Joseph Painso with 7 assists. So the killer piece definitely making being an appearance as the top assist leader. Then you got Joveljic with 5 assists, and then Yamane also with five assists for this Galaxy team. For Minnesota, unsurprisingly, Robin Lod leads the team with 14 assists, followed by Joseph Rosales with 7 assists. Taniolo Shari actually ends up in the top five. I mean, again, a guy that's not known for goal for making assists, more for his goal scoring tournament. Well, I take that back. I think his role has kind of really switched as the season goes along. In the beginning of the year, he was all about scoring the goals, and now it seems like he kind of turned to be the provider of this team. But he has 5 assists, followed by Bongi Longwane with 4 assists, and then Hassani Dodson rounds up the top five with 2 assists. So, the big storyline coming into this game, besides the fact that Russ could be a factor coming into this game for both of these teams, and I would not be surprised in the beginning it could be a little bit slow, because again, when you haven't played in such a long time in a competitive match, it could be a little bit slow in the beginning. But obviously, I think the biggest storyline coming into this game, and to kind of use a classic cliche, this feels like it's one of those games where it's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. And what I say that is because the unstoppable force of the LA Galaxy, they're one of the highest goal scoring team in the league this season, and they shown in the first round of this match, absolutely destroying the Colorado Rapids in that one with an aggregate score of 9-1. Now, to be fair, Colorado they were absolutely decimated heading into the playoffs, but the fact that the Galaxy just completely ripped them apart in those two games, just to show you how good this attack is. But if they want to continue that good fortune, now not only they face a tougher task against Minnesota, but really they're facing against a Minnesota team that is pretty much the immovable object for the past couple of games. I mean, this is a team that, going back to their last loss against FC Cincinnati back in September 18th, they've only lost, or actually they not only not have not lost a game ever since that March, and that they have gone 7 game unbeaten, but they only conceded 2 goals doing that stretch. I mean, this is starting to become a very disciplined kind of team, something that I definitely did not saw coming. Consider that was a big problem for this Minnesota team in the beginning, and especially in the middle part of the season, but the defense has really shored up, and I think a big part of that is because Michael Boxall seems like he has drank the fountain of youth, start to look much better down the stretch, and then the big acquisition of Jefferson Diaz has really helped this team. Remember how he had that nightmare debut against the Seattle Sounders? Who would have thought that later on he actually turns out to be good? I mean, I will say that this is kind of what you see when you see players that come into the league. You especially for defenders, you can't just judge on a defender just by one game. Eventually, you got to trust that they, of course, would turn around. And boy, did Jefferson Diaz has turned that around in a big way. And I think also a big part of why Minnesota has done a much better job defensively. That free back system that Eric Ramsey has run has really worked well, and also Dane Sinclair has been just an absolute monster in these playoffs and really in the last couple games as well. Probably the best run of form that he've ever had in his career with Minnesota. And the second big story point coming into this game, which team will actually show their killer transitional play? So when it comes to the attack, both of these teams are kind of very similar. We know the Galaxy is one of the most dangerous transitional team. You do not want to face this Galaxy team when they basically hit the transition. But the question but the thing is, Minnesota is a team that is also very good when it comes to the transitional moment as well. So it's all about who, of course, will be the one that showed that clear transition play. And in other words, which is going to be a team that is going to be there to be the protagonist and hold on to the possession. I think it's going to be the Galaxy, mainly because that's kind of what they are. As much as they are a very good transitional team, they're also a team that likes possession. Minnesota this season, they have shown, especially on the road, they don't like possession. Like this is a team that doing this unbeaten run, they have not had a single game where they have gone above 50% possession, and this is also kind of how they've been not just under Eric Ramsey, but really the last couple of years, even going back to Adrian Heath. This is not a team that is about possession. This is a team that likes to go on the more of the transition play and likes to just kind of sit deep, absorb pressure, and then hit teams on the counterattack. And that's a good strategy to have if you're Ramsey, because heading into that third big story point coming out of this game is the fact that there is that concern about the Galaxy defense. So while I say Minnesota definitely has the big advantage on the defensive end, whereas I think the Galaxy will definitely have that advantage on the attacking end, you can't say the same thing about the defensive end. I mean, this defense of the Galaxy, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's going to come back to haunt them. They have had these kind of games we've seen where their defense just kind of switched off in the most vital moment and in big games as well. A big example of that is what we saw on Decision Day. I mean, in that game where if they didn't give up that late goal to their former center back Daniel Sturridge, where their defense just completely switched off on a long ball coming into the box, they would not be second, finishing in the league, and they would not potentially be heading into the next game if they do advance, and if LAFC also advance as well. Be playing El Trafico in the Western Conference Final at BMO Stadium. So that's going to be something that's going to be watch out for, especially how vulnerable that this defense can be, and that, yeah, again, that could be a big decider. I think set pieces could be also a big decider. Minnesota obviously will have a big advantage over that. The Galaxy, they are one of the worst team this season when it comes to defending set pieces. It's been an Achilles heel throughout the season, and it hasn't really gotten any better. So yeah, this should be a very interesting matchup, and this could be a matchup that, again, whatever happened in this game, as a Minnesota United fan, it's been an absolute success this year of what this Loons team has gone through. I mean, the fact that this is a team that coming into the season without a head coach and no direction whatsoever, and then after that disastrous run of form in the summer where it looked like reality sets in, I would have never guessed it that this team would rebound well after the Leeds Cup, and that, yeah, again, this team is playing with house money, just like with Atlanta United. They have nothing to lose, and that usually it not only is a good feeling to have as a fan coming in knowing that, yes, if Minnesota does lose this game, I'm not going to get too upset about it, and that's even if they blow it in a big fashion, as Minnesota sports culture have taught me about that. but there is great progress of this team. And again, I've said before that this team really reminds me of the New England Revolution back in that COVID shortened season. The team was playing with house money, one of the lower seed team, way ahead of their schedule when it comes to the core that they build up, and they went all the way to the Eastern Conference Final. We'll see whether or not if Minnesota can repeat that going back to the Western Conference Final and potentially might have a rematch against the team that they lost in the Western Conference Final in the COVID shortened season if Seattle is able to overcome their demons of beating LAFC in the other conference semifinal in the West. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of this preview. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of this preview, and let me know in the comments below your prediction for this game as well. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.